Do you want to win a World Series? Cool, just tell me if David Wright is safe or out at second base. Well, we're waiting. The call on the field is safe, so the Mets get a pivotal base runner in scoring position, pursuing an insurance run in the top of the ninth in this Game 1 of the 2015 World Series. But what's this? Replay review? In my Major League Baseball? The call is overturned after replay reveals that Wright was tagged before reaching the bag. Royals manager Ned Yost gets credit for signaling the challenge, but he's just a mouthpiece. The real decision maker is a secret weapon, a man they call Duper. Bill Duplissea wasn't destined for greatness on the field. He batted just .181 with 2 home runs in his minor league career. In 2006, he joined the Royals organization, first as a bullpen catcher, then scout, and in 2014, with league-wide expansion of instant replay review, he became Kansas City's first replay coordinator, where he sits in the replay room with 12 screens and no natural light, oh man, he's just like me, and makes quick decisions that impact the game. He's the only member of the Royal staff who doesn't have a photo on their website. Don't laugh. But this is a man so good at his job, Kansas City Chiefs fans are begging him to pick up a few extra shifts on Sundays. Home runs began in 2008. Wait, that's not right. Replay review of home runs began in 2008. In fact, the first home run reviewed and confirmed by Instant Replay was hit by none other than Alex Rodriguez. It was a fair foul call, and given that the ball hit the foul pole, which should really be called the fair pole, the home run counted. Of course, the most memorable moment from this era was when Michael Morse hit what was originally called a single, but overturned into a grand slam, prompting the umpires to reset the base runners and Morse to their original positions, where he proceeded to mime hitting his home run before jogging the bases. Heading into 2014, the usage of replay was greatly expanded, assuaging concerns that a perfect game would be taken away by a bad call, and aggravating concerns that pace of play would suffer. Additional guidelines were released in 2017 to address the latter. Managers were given 30 seconds to decide whether or not they challenge, meaning review coordinators like Bill Duplissea have less than 30 seconds to find the right camera angle, relay info to the bench coach via the phone, who relays to the manager, who ultimately issues the challenge. If a challenge is issued, the review is sent to MLB's Replay Center in New York, where the guideline is that the entire process should take less than 2 minutes.
Ah, there it is. They're playing baseball.
Of course, some reviews far exceed that 2-minute guideline. A 2017 matchup between the Twins and Dodgers was once delayed for over 18 minutes due to confusion over a double switch. Pat Sajak was there. More like Wheel of Misfortune. Okay, I'd like to solve the puzzle. Wilson Contreras. Oh man. A replay review needs clear and convincing evidence to overturn. That's what the crew in New York was looking for when the Royals challenged David Wright's steal late in Game 1. A type of play specifically cited by Duper as toughest to challenge due to poor camera angles on tags at second base. The overturned call was arguably the catalyst for Kansas City's ultimate triumph. The Mets were prevented from extending their 1-run lead, allowing the Royals to tie the game in the bottom of the 9th and force extras. They would go on to walk off the game in the 14th inning and win the series in 5. A sequence kicked off by a phone call from Bill Duplissea to Royals bench coach Don Wakamatsu. This made up for a replay challenge that haunted Duplissea. It wasn't even his decision to make, but in Game 7 of the 2014 series, the Giants successfully overturned a close play at first base with Jeremy Affeldt on the mound, allowing him to successfully act as a bridge to Madison Bumgarner. The rest, as they say, is history. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. On average, approximately half of the calls challenged by a team are overturned. This figure excludes replay reviews instituted by the umpires themselves, which are overturned at a much lower rate. But in all 10 seasons of the replay review era, the Kansas City Royals have converted calls at a rate higher than league average. Their 656, let's call it a win percentage, would be like a team winning 106 games every year. Such efficiency aligns with the value held by former Royals manager Ned Yost. No challenges unless Duper was sure it could be overturned. So, Duper, knowing full well the high standard of evidence needed to reverse a call, has issued challenges at a rate below league average as replay coordinator. Of course, in a playoff scenario, that philosophy may change. After issuing just one challenge in the entire 2014 postseason, the first of its kind with expanded replay review, he made his presence felt in 2015. ALDS Game 2, Alcides Escobar lays down a bunt and is called out at first on a bang-bang play. After a replay review, Escobar is deemed safe at first. This immediately pays dividends. Ben Zobrist hits the ball hard to third base, and the Astros elect to trade 2 outs for a run given their lead, but that run doesn't score without Escobar on first in the first place. Alex Rios would have had to hold up at third or make an out going for home based on how hard Zobrist hit that ball. The Royals take a 1-run lead in the 7th inning, and with the Astros trying to tie the game up against Wade Davis in the 9th, they bring in Carlos Gomez to pinch run. Davis is wise to his aggression. Objection! New York takes a look at the safe call on the pickoff. Replay reveals that Gomez was out. Duplessea's well-timed challenges have given his Royals a run and killed a potential Astros rally. Altuve grounds out to end the game and tie up the series. All in all, Duper went 5 for 6 on replay reviews during Kansas City's World Series run. We've established the Royals' elite efficiency, but efficiency plus volume is much harder to come by than efficiency alone. Imagine if the hitter with the most swings made contact at the highest rate. Imagine if the starting pitcher with the most innings had a lower ERA than every closer. Sure, the Royals have a good overturn success rate, but do they actually challenge enough compared to other teams? Yes, they do. Only one team in the replay era has overturned more calls in their favor than the Kansas City Royals. It's the Chicago Cubs, who have won 9 more calls at the expense of 112 more challenges. The only team in the vicinity of the Royals in terms of efficiency is the New York Yankees, who still trail by 19 overturns. Some of those overturns are a big deal. On June 2nd, 2017, Duplissea and Yost successfully challenged an inning-ending swinging bunt from Lorenzo Cain that ended in a close play at first base. As a result, Alcides Escobar scored from home, giving the Royals a lead in what had been a scoreless affair up to that point. Ironically, as the team faded from World Series champs to playing 500 ball to American League bottom dwellers, Duper only grew more and more powerful. 2018 was the strongest season of his replay coordinating career, and possibly anybody's, as he kicked off the year with 11 consecutive successful overturns. The chances of an average team reeling off such a streak that year would have been just 0.05%, but Bill Duplissea is anything but average. He led the league that year with 31 overturned calls on just 41 challenges, an incredible achievement in both efficiency and volume. How did he do it? By understanding umpires and their contradictions.
Why do we wear black when everyone calls us blue?
It almost makes us forget that for the vast majority of baseball history, the call on the field was permanent. While Duper's challenge of the David Wright steal in 2015 was a positive jolt for the Royals' World Series chances, they benefited greatly from a lack of instant replay review 30 years prior. Facing elimination in Game 6 of the 1985 World Series, George Orta hit a ground ball to Cardinals first baseman Jack Clark. Pitcher Todd Worrell raced Orta to the bag, and while even 1985 quality instant replay reveals that Worrell won that race, umpire Don Denkinger called Orta safe. Representing the tying run, Orta would eventually come around to score, followed by Steve Balboni on a Dane Orge walk-off, which forced a Game 7 that the Royals won 11-0, giving them their first and only World Series. Well, at least until Bill Duplissea moved to the replay room. The value of an overturn is dependent on the situation. On June 24, 2018, Royals catcher Drew Butera Baltimore chopped a ball to a charging Alex Bregman, whose errant throw forced Tyler White to attempt a tag play. The call on the field was out, but after replay revealed the tag wasn't applied, Butera was deemed safe. The Royals managed to score an additional run, but they were already trailing 9-1 in the 7th inning, meaning the game's outcome wasn't impacted by the reversal. The Astros were in position to win, regardless of whether Butera was safe or out. A greater opportunity followed 2 months later. With 1 out in a tie game in the bottom of the 7th, Kevin Kiermaier stepped in the batter's box to face Jake Newberry. After running the count to full, he hit a grounder to second. Whit Merrifield flipped to Alcides Escobar in the hopes of a double play, but Kiermaier was too quick. The Rays had taken the lead. Or had they? Objection. Duplissea issued a challenge, but what was there to challenge on this play? He wanted New York to take a look at the slide of Willy Adames into second base for interference. This was 3 years after the Chase Utley-Ruben Tejada play that prompted a new slide rule. Adames slid into Escobar and didn't go for second base at all, so the umpires called Kiermaier out at first to end the inning and remove a run from the scoreboard. The genius of this challenge is that even if Adames had slid clean, it appears Kiermaier would have been safe at first no matter what. But the keen eye of Duper saw a way out. By win probability added, this was one of the clutchest challenges of his career. He increased the Royals' chances of winning by 0.29, 29%. The World Series Game 1 call, yes, we're not done with it yet, was worth plus 0.19, which made him the 10th most valuable player in the entire series. Now we're done with it. What does that mean, though? Think of win probability added as a before and after snapshot. Here's an example. On May 8, 2016, playing in Cleveland, Edinson Volquez walked Carlos Santana to load the bases. With 2 outs and a 1-run lead, this was a high-leverage situation. The next hitter, Jason Kipnis, hit a ground ball to second, but Eric Hosmer appeared to have trouble finding his footing at first base. Kipnis was called safe, scoring a run, but the Royals challenged, and New York saw that Hosmer had found the bag after initially receiving the ball away from it. Now, if you go on the old baseball reference, it'll tell you that play represented a 10% swing in win probability, and that the challenge credit goes to manager Ned Yost. This is because their before snapshot takes place before Kipnis's at-bat. Bottom of the 4th, 1-run game, bases loaded, 2 outs, the after snapshot being the end of the inning, on to the top of the 5th. Of course, the true before snapshot for the replay review is more dire for the Royals because before Bill Duplissea, not Ned Yost, made the decision to challenge, the game was tied, and it would have stayed that way if not for Duper's intervention. As such, the true jump in win probability is 0.24 or plus 24%, a significant swing in favor of the Royals. Bill Duplissea makes decisions that matter, but how much is that worth? So, what's the value of having an umpire whisperer in the replay room? Well, I took a look at Duplessea's challenges and expertly guesstimated that an overturn is worth, on average, 5% of a win. You might remember that the Chicago Cubs have actually overturned more challenges at the cost of efficiency in the replay era. So doesn't that make their replay room more valuable? The way replay rules are currently set up, teams only get 1 challenge. If they successfully overturn, they get to retain that challenge and use it again if they wish. That's how Duplissea managed to overturn not 1, but 2 close Alec Marsh pickoff attempts in a game versus the Twins last July. But if the challenge isn't overturned, the team loses their ability to call for a review for the rest of the game. Seems like a harsh penalty, right? What if you lose your challenge in the 5th, and then there's a crucial missed call in the 9th? You'd have no recourse. Luckily, umpire crew chiefs are able to call for a review on all home runs, as well as any reviewable play beginning in the 8th inning. So the chances of a lost challenge losing the game are greatly diminished. That's not to say it never happens, though. On April 21st, 2023, the Rockies challenged a close play at first on the basis that Alec Boehm came off the bag before receiving Edmundo Sosa's throw. New York called Chris Bryant out, meaning the call on the field stood and the Rockies lost their challenge. Side note, I'm not so sure that was the right call. Not the first time Alec Boehm probably didn't touch. Anywho, the very next inning, JT Realmuto claimed to be hit by a Noah Davis fastball with 2 runners already on and was awarded first base, though it appeared on replay that the pitch might have just missed him. The Rockies had no ability to challenge and thus no other recourse other than sending out Bud Black to argue and get ejected. The Phillies went on to score 2 runs in the inning and came back to win the game 4-3. Again, those situations are few and far between, so I'm going to conservatively estimate that losing a challenge is worth just a 1% subtraction in win probability. With those values in mind, the Royals replay room leads the way with plus 2.3 wins above average thanks to their volume and efficiency, surpassing the Cubs due to the 1% penalty on their additional 100-plus lost challenges. That would make Bill Duplissea one of just 14 Royals players worth that many wins above average since 2014, and one of just 3 that remain with the team to this day. That said, when it comes to wins, baseball stat heads like myself usually talk about wins above replacement level, not average. So, what does replacement level look like in this context? I decided to use the least successful replay team in the Royals division, the Chicago White Sox, who have overturned 63 fewer challenges than the Royals and lost 48 more. That means Bill Duplessea's value to the Royals since 2014 is approximately 3.6 WAR. That's about as much value as Albert Pujols provided to the Angels, Dodgers, and Cardinals from 2014 until the end of his career in 2022. Now, Albert was making big money during those years because he'd played long enough to reach free agency and sign a monster contract, but staff members have no such service time requirements. Former Royals manager Ned Yost made an interesting point when he suggested Duplessis should become a free agent himself. And given the standard industry $8 million per free market WAR math, it would suggest Duper's replay room contributions have been worth almost $29 million to the Royals organization. Think about that. The numbers are suggesting that Duplessis should be valued like a top-tier field manager or GM. After all, his impact on wins and losses is at the very least way more quantifiable. Until the hypothetical replay coordinator revolution, when teams will splash cash on the best eyes for overturned calls like they have for front office analytics gurus, Bill Duplessis remains Kansas City loyal, and he's continued to impact games under different managers. In 2021, he successfully challenged a catcher's interference call to create a late Royals rally versus the Athletics, leading to a 6-1 win under Mike Matheny. And in 2023, he stifled a Guardians rally by nabbing Ahmed Rosario going first to third in a 4-1 win under Matt Quatraro. Quatraro described his personal role in the replay equation succinctly. 99% of the time, we go with what Billy says. This episode was made possible by my newest patrons. To see your name here, head to patreon.com/foolishbaseball.